Welcome to the fourth episode of Life, Love and the Pursuit of FI with your hosts Austin Culp and Gregory Gaskin with special guest Baby Yoda.
Huh. I love it. How's it going, man?
Hey, Greg, how are you?
Oh, can't complain. Getting over the holidays, ready to turn up on New Year's Eve.
Got any big plans?
I am going to a murder mystery party, and it's gonna be a blast. Can't
Oh,
wait.
is that like a big game of Clue?
Pretty much.
Okay, that's awesome. Nice. How did you did your friends host it, or how did you get into it?
Yeah, one of my college friends is hosting it at our house, so she invited all the friends and some of her family members over to play.
Nice.
So it should be a good time.
Are
Gonna be
you do you have to dress up for it? Is there special attire required? Are you gonna
yeah.
dress up like Colonel Mustard?
No, it's just 1920s theme. So, and then we all got our characters, and mine is perfect for me. Well, I guess I can say it because this episode will come out after the party. So, my character's name is Perry T. Animal. So, party animal. And my only thing is that I like to get drunk and kiss on everybody.
Okay.
So, I feel like I can do that once I actually get drunk.
Well, it'll be an
No,
interesting murder
no
mystery
acting
then.
involved. Yeah.
You
What
have a
about you?
what?
Any? Well, I say yeah. It should be very interesting.
Yeah, it will be.
Do you have any plans for the New Year's?
No, not really. Just finishing up work a bit. Trying to get things done for the new year. That's basically it. I know, pretty boring.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do before start working next year.
Yeah, yeah. You know, End of the year, just getting all the business stuff ready from house hacking and filing our taxes, stuff like that. Exciting adult things.
Yeah, it's amazing how you go from just talking random things in college and when you're younger days. Now you just talk about taxes and stocks and bonds and all this
Adult
adult
stuff.
shit. Like,
Yeah,
can I go
yeah.
back to being a kid?
Now,
I'm just kidding.
interesting, right? Let me ask you this question: is there an amount of money you would pay to go back to your childhood to relive it?
Now, am I just reliving it, or can I go back and change something?
We're gonna go ahead and say that you have the knowledge that you have now.
Then yes. That amount, I'm gonna say probably wouldn't be that much because only thing I would only change one thing with my knowledge, but I'll say 500,000 would be good. What about you?
I don't know. I'd like to say no, but then you could go back I don't know. I think I'd say 1 million, just because you could go back and invest in Bitcoin, Amazon, Google, all these other companies that are big now, and grow your wealth exponentially and be like, hey, buy these companies and you're gonna be good.
Yeah, but it's also like the butterfly effect. If you
Yeah,
go back and invest in them, will they still become big?
yeah, or like a different branch of time, like you create a different version of yourself where you don't end up here at this moment creating this podcast with me.
Exactly. That would be interesting because if I went back, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at now. So who knows?
Do you believe in that there are different branches of time?
I don't not believe in it. Like, it's possible. Just like it's possible that there are aliens, but wouldn't know.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Anything's possible, right?
Yeah. But let's get into this week's topic. It is our 2021 pretty much recap video and goal setting for 2022. So, how has your year been?
I think it's been a pretty good year overall. Um, Overall, positive gains in the portfolio, pretty good. Um, I had a goal to read 25 books this year. Um, I smashed that by July, and then
Oh, wow. 25 by July?
well, it was 25 by the end of the year, but then I finished it by July, and then my motivation just kind of tapered off. Is like I just stopped reading after I hit that goal, just thinking like I guess it just wasn't big enough.
Yeah, especially with summer. I don't want to read in summer. I want to be outside doing, outdoor activities, so I wouldn't want to read either.
Yeah, what type of books do you like reading?
Um, I usually stick to like the fantasy and adventure books, but I have not read any books this year. I've been too busy playing video games and watching Netflix, or watching podcasts. And I have read like an audiobook or two, but nothing like no physical reading or anything.
Yeah, I don't do any physical reading. All my books are audiobooks. It's just Audible only. I can listen to it at points in my day when I know I have free time, such as like when I'm driving, right? Like I could be listening to music, but instead I turn on a podcast or a book, and I just listen to it while I'm going to wherever I'm going. Usually it's to the gym after work. But my genres of novels that I like to read is, obviously finance, like go figure. um, Philosophy, spiritual, and then books on real estate. But after a while, reading books on finance is kind of all the same. After a while, they kind of all reiterate the
Yeah,
same topics.
gets repetitive real
Yep,
fast.
yep. So I decided to kind of branch out, and like there's this one author that I'm sure everyone's familiar with. That's Alan Watts. I'm certain people are probably familiar with, but um, he used to be a professor, but he has like a lot of videos on YouTube, and he talks about just it's just overall like the mindset you have currently, and just life in general. I recommend checking out a few of his videos.
All right, I'm write his name down. I'll have to do that because I need more YouTube content because I watch like the same like 4 or 5 channels.
Oh, speaking of YouTube content, make sure you guys don't forget to subscribe to our new YouTube channel.
Yes, when you see this video, I need you to go over to YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. Give us feedback. We're trying to grow this channel every week, get better and better.
Yeah, we will
Now,
include the link to the channel for YouTube in the Facebook post.
for sure. Now, would you? How do you think you've changed this year? Like, how much do you think you've grown as a person?
That's hard to answer because, looking back, I feel like I've had positive changes. Um, I think it was back in March of this year, March or May of this year, I really decided to fully uh, go to the gym all the time. So I started going like 5 to 6 days a week, and just trying to build a lot of muscle mass. That area of my life is definitely been a positive change. You feel more energy. You have I don't know. You just start feeling better about yourself, and then other areas of your life improve because of it. What about you?
No. Um, I feel like I've just realized more between like 2020 and 2021. I've realized more things about myself and like grown, I guess, like emotionally and trying to learn um, guess what's it called, like emotional intelligence, and be able to like read people better. Especially it helps with like relationships. Because I remember I used to get so down on like the dating apps and stuff because like you could be swiping all day and get like no matches for like 2 weeks, right? Or the one day you might get a match every now and then. So I used to like really mess with my self esteem. And so like I've learned like that like every everything isn't for everybody. So like you may think you're like a great person or whatever, but that one like person may not be interested in you, and then like your whole self esteem just tanks. So I've been trying to like get in touch with myself more like that.
Yeah, and also that's a big thing that I'm not the biggest fan of is dating apps, mainly because social media distorts. Like it makes it seem like everyone's living their perfect life and whatever it might be, but in reality, a lot of these people aren't what they look like. They're presenting themselves out to the world in like a fake image because it's not who they really look like, and then people get a people. A lot of people do this, myself included. You have an image of who you think you should be with, right? Like a person who like a certain standard person you want to be with. You're not going to take anyone else for it, but in our world today, social media is like it's like almost an addiction, right? It, it's
Yep.
it's like a dopamine hit, and I think a good detox every once in a while from social media would be good.
Oh yeah, for sure. So you're not a fan of dating apps. How have you, I guess, met people to go on dates with since everything shut down and like started opening back up?
Yeah. So a lot of the people who I've dated, I've been introduced through friends, like friends of friends. They're like, oh, like I have a friend of you, a friend who I think is pretty amazing. Like you should meet her. Um, and then yeah, I'll be like, go give it a chance, see what happens, and then just go from there.
Nice. Now, do you not feel awkward doing that? Just like in case things don't work out, then you're like, fuck. Now I have to see this person every time I hang out with so and so.
No, I don't think it's ever awkward, mainly because some of the best things in life are right outside of our comfort zones. Like you have to take that risk, and you'll find the reward. And also, you don't have to pursue it as a date. Just getting to know the person and talking about them, seeing who they are, where they came from, and don't approach it as you want to date this person. You're just at first just be like getting to know them as friends. I think would be the best way to go about it. Is just looking at this person as a friend.
Nice. Now, what do you do when you approach them as a friend, but you develop feelings and they don't? How do you approach that?
Well, I mean, there's not much you can do. If the feelings are one sided, I think you gotta understand that there's nothing you can do if that person doesn't want to be with you, and then that's okay, right? That doesn't mean you're bad. Like that shouldn't hurt your self esteem. It just means they might not think that together you would be a good couple, which is okay, right? It happens all the time. But the biggest thing is don't dwell on that, right? That just means that you haven't found the right person for you, and maybe you have to fail 1,000 times before you succeed that one time. But when you do succeed, it's amazing.
I totally agree. And that's what I've been working on this entire year.
Yeah, and because what if one of the people you go out with, what if they're like, hey, we're not a good match. However, I might know someone who would be good for you, and then you go out with them, and that turns out to be your soulmate, or if you believe in that.
Yeah, that would be awesome, but that rarely ever happens like that. But the one day it does, I'm gonna be so geeked.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah, because I know like earlier this year, I met a young lady on um, Bumble. No, it was on Hinge. Sorry, it was on Hinge. You know, she was a little paranoid about COVID, right? So we only did things outside, and we would be like once a week. So this went on for like a month and a half, from talking to personal interaction. And then one day I was like, you know what? Let me reach up, not reach up. Let me get the courage. And on our final date, I went in, for the kiss. And then I didn't hear from her for like a couple days, and I was like, fuck. All right. And then, you know what? Let me ask her like how she felt about the situation and everything. And then she finally told me, she was like, yeah. She's like, you're cool, but I don't see like that romantic connection. I was like, all right, cool. And then she was like, no, we could still be friends. I was like, yeah, no, thank you. And I wish you the best, and I'll talk to you later. Yeah, so that's another thing, learning about not having to settle for like, it's like if you're in a relationship with someone and they don't, you can just cut it off. Just go, all right, cool, and keep moving. So that's like one of the
Yeah,
best things that I had to learn this year.
yeah, I absolutely agree. There's nothing that says you have to be friends with them, and if it doesn't work out romantically, you don't have to keep them in your life if you don't want to, right? That choice is entirely up to you. It just depends on, you know, if you want to build that connection out, even though, and that's the other hard thing is today in our world, a lot of people say like, oh yeah, like let's be friends, and then they don't act like a friend, right? Like you guys don't ever talk, you don't ever hang out, or do what friend stuff do. So it's kind of hard, right? Is is as adults, what I found is just trying to make new friends, but I think that just comes with the territory.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing I miss about college. You can have so many friends, because I feel like part of friendship is like proximity to people, right? It's easier to hang out with people if you live close to each other, because just naturally people get busy, and then it takes up time to travel hours or however long between each other. But I do like social media for that aspect, where you can keep up with each other's lives. So even if you don't talk in every day, you can, still see what's going on in their life. And then occasionally you can, send a text or Facebook message, and like, catch up personally that way if you can't see each other in person.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It has brought the world together in more ways than one, but it also has also divided people. You know, so
Oh,
while there's the aspect of bringing people together from all across the world, you know, I think it's also a big reason why people are so divided today.
oh, yeah, definitely. It also gives everyone a platform to just say how they really feel, when they really should let that thought, go through a filter before they just say it online.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
So now that we've talked about how this year has changed us personally, how's this year been for you financially?
It's been good. It's been good. You know, my finances are kind of just on autopilot right now. Just the normal invest in VTSAX, FCROX, and chill. Just kind of letting it take its course, really. Um, just building a strong foundation for the future. And I think 90% of my portfolio is just VTSAX and FCROX, and then I also have cryptocurrency. Not a lot because of course, volatile, but I believe there's value in it, just not at the current moment as much.
Oh man, speaking of crypto, I just found out that crypto.com had a DeFi wallet. I was like, what? Why
Yep.
didn't nobody tell me? So I finally downloaded that, and I just started doing um, mining coins. So just like stake some coins to mine. So I'm like, all right, hopefully it stays up. But right now it's like 200% APY. I'm like, all right, let me throw in a couple bucks and see what that does in a year.
Yeah, yeah. I hear staking coins. You can get a lot from staking. Like I think there was the one promotion they were doing where if you staked with crypto.com coin, you could earn up to 12% APY.
Yep, they still have that, but I
As
just
of
have
the time of this recording, they still have that.
yes, as of 12/30/2021. But yeah, for me personally, this year I pretty much went like gung ho on like paying off debt. So that helped my net worth jump tremendously, and then I finally got to 100,000 in um, liquid assets. So
Congrats. That's a big milestone.
yeah, so that was like I read the one article, by the 4 pillars of 5, like 4 pillars of whatever, right? About the compound interest that happens after you get your first 100,000, right? So that's like the popular, I guess, like personal finance goal is to get your first 100,000, and after that, everything else pretty much becomes a lot easier. And that shit is real. Like I hit 100K, and then that 100K earned me like 20K right off the bat. And I was like,
Really?
well, all right, yeah, because like this year the market has been doing like crazy. So the market's up like 20 something percent.
Yeah.
So 20 something percent of 100K is about $20,000. So without doing any work other than just saving and holding, I'm I'm up, which I'm so glad I found five when I did. Because before that, I was just like I had a Roth IRA, but I just put money in and just like let it sit, so I wasn't actively investing in it. And then I started my HSA. So I found out that you could invest money in your HSA. So I'm like, all right, I hold up to my annual out of pocket max in cash, and then everything else I just invest.
That's awesome. Now,
So
did you also know that, a lot of people don't know this, but I think it's after the age of 65, you can start using your HSA account for anything besides, like, you can use it for anything. Like, it doesn't have to be just medical.
yep, I found that out too. I was like, all right, cool. If I never have a big medical emergency or that I need to use that money for, then I can just use it like a regular retirement account. But with my family history, I'll probably need that money for something medical. So I'm like, all right, put this money in, let it grow until I'm 65, and then I can pay my like Medicare premiums and shit with that money and not have to pay tax on it. Cool, I'll be set.
Yeah. Another thing that some people do is, they'll pay for out of like copays and premiums, whatever it might be, out of pocket right now. Keep the
Yeah,
receipts, let your money grow over time,
yeah,
and then later down the road, that's when they'll cash it back in after the compounding interest. And you've made those investments into your account, into your HSA, and it's grown to a large sum. That's how people draw down the money. Is they keep the receipts from like 20, 30 years ago. They're like, hey, here you go. Because
yeah,
I don't think there's a time limit on when you can turn in the receipts for it.
yeah. That's the part that got me. I was like, that's wild. Do I really want to keep receipts for like 30 years.
I
As
mean,
many as many times as I'll probably move in my lifetime and lose it. But luckily, you can hold things digitally now, which helps a lot. But hopefully that data doesn't get hacked or corrupted and you lose passwords to log in and stuff.
yeah, yeah, and I have the same thing because, funny enough, I actually asked the doctor's office where I go for my back is if they keep invoices of the receipts on their computer, and they do. So I actually just have them hold it, and they said they would just mail me the invoices whenever I needed them. So I should ask them because I'll just put it into my cloud and just kind of let it be there. But it's always good to ask.
Yeah. So, what was your biggest goal for this year, and did you achieve it?
Let's see. Biggest goal for this year was hitting a net worth of over 100,000, which I did. um, I didn't think so, but I did hit it. It was I haven't done my quarter four projections yet because tomorrow's the 31st, so that's when I'll do the end of the year net worth tracker. But yeah, I don't want to go into too much numbers, but yeah, I have passed that goal. So I think for 2022, I'll aim for 200,000 as the net worth.
Nice. That's double it in a year. That would be amazing.
Yeah, that's the hope. But real estate kind of carries all the way on its back for you.
Yeah, I can relate because everything I have, well, not everything, but like about 50 to 60% of my portfolio is in my primary residence right now.
Yeah,
So eventually I plan on selling it and then moving into I plan on selling it eventually and moving into a duplex. And then at least at the very minimum, I'll live rent free and I break even and I'll be happy with that. Because as long as I'm not paying rent, that's an or paying a mortgage, no, that'll probably actually be double what I'm currently putting in every year. So I'll be happy with that.
do you plan to keep on buying more houses, or what do you plan on doing?
Um, so my original my original plan for buying a house was I was tired of renting and having to rent go up a couple $100 every year for no reason. And then I was like, all right, I'll buy a house, and eventually, if I meet a woman, either move in with her, move in with me, whoever has better house or more room, you know, closer to work, whatever, those type of factors, and then rent out my house, so make money on it that way. But I was thinking of doing, you can as long as you live in your house for 2 years, you can sell it and not have to pay the capital gains up to a certain amount. This is not financial advice, by the way.
Give
Um,
them the whole disclosure. Just start reading it off.
yeah, so like that was my goal, but now I'm like, all right, there's still no lady in sight. So I'm like, all right, I'll buy a duplex. So sell this, get a duplex, rent out the other half, or Airbnb it out, depending on the area. And then when I meet a lady, then move in, same scenario, either her with me with her, and rent out or Airbnb the other person's house. So that's my goal with real estate because I don't really need to do the full portfolio of like single family or like, you know, duplexes or anything. But I did get into an investment group this year. It's just me and a couple of friends from college. We just pulled our money together and then invested in whatever. So right now I have money invested in a uh, soybean farming company in Africa, which that's been doing pretty well for us so far this year. Um, I should have like the exact numbers after no after the first of the year once they do the financial statements and stuff.
Yeah. You're gonna have to tell me the story behind that. You can't just hit me with that and then not expect me to ask. Right? Like, oh, like there's an elephant in the room and I'm not gonna ask about it. How did you get into soybean farming? Who found it? How did you even know it's something you can invest in?
Um, so it's like I said, it's a group of friends. Some are African, so they're native to Africa, so they have contacts in Africa. So the plan of the group was to pull our money together and then go out and find potential investments. And one of the other group members told us no about a contact he had, and then he sent us like the information, so like the prospectus and business plan and everything that they had going on, and it looked good. And we were like the first or second round of investments, and now they're doing another round next year with a higher valuation. So our money has already made money so far. I don't know exactly how much, and I don't really want to disclose how much for tax audit purposes. But but yeah, so it's pretty much just uh, joined a group with friends. They had a contact with a solid business plan, and we took the risk. And so far, you know, it's good.
Okay, interesting. I thought you were gonna say like a group of friends came together and you guys invested in a house, or like, yeah, I
uh,
wasn't
that
expecting that.
that could be next.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as long as it's going good, man, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and to know, obviously, always investing. Um, don't want to put in more than you can afford to lose. So I could afford to lose the amount of money that I put in, and if it goes to crap, I'm not out a shit ton of money. So also not invested in vice, but never invest more than you can afford to lose.
These are just educational tips.
Yeah, always do your research.
Yeah, trust but verify.
Yeah. All right. So, what are your big goals for 2022? Do you have any? Have you thought about it yet?
Yeah, yeah. My goals is to at least do one, and I'm trying to do two real estate deals in 22. Um,
Oh, two.
yeah, I would like to do
Are
two.
you looking to single family or
Yeah, single family would
multifamily?
would definitely be what I am pursuing. However, I do want to get into the commercial real estate world and do apartment buildings. Um, that is probably the only commercial space I want to go into. Uh, Mainly because that's the only one I personally want in my portfolio. Everyone can have their own. Whether or not they want office spaces, whatever. I only want apartment buildings and single family homes or multifamily homes like duplexes, triplexes, quads, whatever it might be. But I just don't want to go into office space, right? That's just not something I find of value.
Yeah, I feel like office spaces are, well, I feel like in the future is multi-use spaces where it'll be like um part office or shopping, part residential, because with I feel like most of the world is going to work from home, at least part time or full time, and then you need less space. So a lot of places might start renting their own office spaces to other companies more, or it'll just be less office spaces being rented in general. And then the only option is to convert them into living spaces. I feel like
Yeah, that'd be interesting if we saw commercial properties such as office buildings get turned into, let's say shelters for homeless people. That would definitely be interesting.
that would be amazing.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
I feel like that'd be hard to make money on, so nobody would do it unless you're like Elon Musk, you're a billionaire, and you just take the hit on a
Yeah,
couple.
at that point, you're just doing it for the good of humanity.
Yes, which I feel like we should do. That's one thing I want to get into investing more. It's like not investing more, but like, well, yeah, I guess investing into like the donor advised funds where I can invest and then donate that money to charity. Because right now, speaking of charity, do you currently donate to any charities?
I don't.
Mm. I feel like only thing I've ever done is I currently donate $25 a month to Doctors Without Borders because I got suckered into, well, not suckered, but how I was approached when I was leaving the subway in DC, and the sign up girl was cute. So I was like, all right, I'll hear what you have to say. And then I was like, all right, I can afford $25 a month and it won't hurt me. So I was like, all right, that's what I'll do. But initially I was like, oh, can I just do like a one time thing? And she was like, oh no, we only do like monthly. I'm like, fuck. So no, I could do a one time like $100, $200 thing. But a monthly, I'm like, no, all right, I can do a monthly $25, and then
It's like a subscription to Netflix at that point.
right, Jesus.
Yeah,
But
no,
no,
and
it's
see the biggest
doing good for the world, so I can't complain too much.
and the biggest thing that I have issue with, it's not donating to charity. It's just it's knowing that my money is making a difference, right? Like actually, because I don't know what the charity does on a daily basis, and
Yeah, or
you
how much of your actual donation is being used.
yeah, to actually provide food to homeless, or you know giving it to people in need. You don't know unless the company. I think there was like one charity who created like a video channel on YouTube where they like showed where like whatever they brought in, they were like actually showing a difference of like taking their donations out to people and like giving them out and like showing the difference being made. Which just because that doesn't always mean there isn't a difference being made if there's no video. But I think people like to see their money making a difference out in the world.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, What um so for my 2022 goals, oh, totally forgot. Also, one of my goals for this year was to max out my Roth IRA and my HSA, which will both be maxed out as of tomorrow as my next paycheck hits the bank. And
Congrats, that's awesome.
I'm so excited.
That's honestly, just being able to fully fund your Roth, just it's a huge accomplishment. It makes you feel really good inside because you're like, wow, like because when you see that number, it can be pretty large to someone who like $6,000 for 2021. It's like wow, like 6,000. You think that's a lot of money, and it is a lot of money to someone you know who might not make as much as other people. So after your bills and all that, you're like, how am I going to like be able to put $6,000 away? But set a plan. You make the plan work, right? Like it's possible.
Uh, Definitely. So for next year, I'm gonna try and cut back on my entertainment category by at least $100 a month, and also my eating out category, because those two were like my my biggest area after, you know, house, groceries, and transportation. And also, I plan on. All right, so I might not max out my Roth next year, but I have access to my Roth 401k. So I might just put all the money towards my Roth 401k. Um, that way, it's less of a hassle for me because I have a decent 401k with Fidelity. So like the fees are really low, so I don't have to worry about that aspect of my 401k versus an IRA because the fees are minimal.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think you really have to find what's best for you, and then take that path.
Definitely. Because I mean, with FI anyway, you're taking the road less traveled. So any incremental help is tremendous. So I'll be bumping up my 401k next year to 20%. Uh, so 10% pre-tax, 10% Roth, and I'm just call it a day. And then I'm gonna save up for um, a new house. So like my next property, that'll be one goal for next year.
Nice. That's awesome. Um, Two questions. Right. One, do you think at any point in time in the future you'll be able to invest in cryptocurrencies within your retirement accounts? And then, we were talking about crypto. What cryptocurrencies are you currently interested in?
Ooh. All right. So first question. Um, well, you can currently invest in cryptocurrency within a retirement account if it's a self-directed retirement account. But with like a standard traditional retirement account, I feel like it's still too new and volatile to be approved by the government for like traditional lending, not lending, traditional investing. Like only one like Bitcoin, like ETF or like investable instrument has been approved, and it's like futures contracts for Bitcoin, or it's the fund that kind of tracks the Bitcoin price, but it's like you don't own any physical coins. So with that, I guess we'll see. And then anything I'm looking at right now, I'm looking at the honorable Shiba Inu token. I've got $100 in, and I'm gonna ride it until it goes to 1/10 of a penny, or no, I guess it's 1/100th of a dollar, or it goes to absolute zero. Because I was like, I missed out on Dogecoin. I'm not missing out on this one. But I also keep my head, keep my ears to different podcasts and YouTube channels for like the next coin to look into.
Let
Um,
me ask you this, right?
yep.
Of all these altcoins, which alternative coins, um, what is the difference between these altcoins and, for example, let's say penny stocks?
I I'm not a crypto expert, but I would say they're pretty much the same at this point. Because they're a lot of them only work on Ethereum, so it's built on top of another blockchain. But there are some like credible ones that I've seen, but I'm like not an expert on reading white papers and what these things do. But I would say like maybe more of the gaming tokens and stuff like that will be definitely considered more penny stocks because they only have value for that specific like playing that game or like NFTs and stuff. So I guess we'll see. What
Do you
about you?
think at
How you
any
feel
point.
about it?
Yeah, yeah. It's extremely, in my opinion, currently volatile. Do you think at any point in the future you might also look into investing into virtual real estate?
Um, it would be something that I need to look into, I guess, soon before it becomes a thing. Because if I would have looked into Bitcoin sooner, I would have been, I wouldn't still be working right now.
You wouldn't be here on this podcast.
I mean, you never know. I could be on the podcast just talking about how I'm a millionaire because I invested $1,000 into Bitcoin back in the shit 2017.
Yeah.
um, or if I invested in Ethereum. So it's like, so 2022, I want to be open to new investments just for the sake of not missing out on potential opportunities because everything is a scam or um, or sketchy until it isn't anymore.
Huh, that's interesting. Uh, can you elaborate?
Um, so like every idea is like take with a grain of salt. Like it's like electric cars, right? Um, People weren't big on Tesla in the beginning. They were like, oh, it wasn't until it started shooting off. So the people that were invested in it early are like, they're they're doing even better than people that invested last year, or people who invested in like ride sharing or Airbnbs. Like when those ideas were first presented, I'm pretty sure there were a lot of skeptics. But all it takes is a few people to believe in it, and then eventually it can come to fruition.
Yeah. I mean, like an example is Doge, right?
Yep,
It,
Doge. Yep, it was a scam until it wasn't anymore. Until it got too big. I mean, which so like I guess people still consider it a scam, but now you can pay things with Dogecoin. So like it has kind of utility. It's not mainstream as um, Bitcoin or Ethereum acceptance. I mean, but it is accepted at a lot of places.
yeah, and I think one of the biggest turning points for me was when I first saw a Bitcoin ATM. I think I was in Las Vegas at the time, and I saw that, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like an ATM that you like. It was just a crazy concept to me. Like you can trade in Bitcoin and get cash out of this ATM.
Right? That'll be amazing. Like I hope those start popping up more and more.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, like I see them in gas stations now, and it's just becoming a bigger thing.
Yeah, another thing I started seeing popping up everywhere are the cell phone cash for your phone vending machines. I'm like, I went to like the dollar store and then like Kroger, and I'm like, where did these come from? Why are these everywhere now?
You know, interestingly enough, I think they take some of the chips from the phone and help like reuse them.
I guess it is a way to get people to recycle their phones versus
Yeah,
just like throwing them in the trash or something.
yeah, yeah. I agree, and you get a little bit of cash for it. And also know like some phone companies they'll do a trade-in deal, especially this time of the year. Like trade in your old phone, get like $800 for credit towards your new purchase. Um, but it's it can be good. But I have my phone here. It's Samsung Galaxy S8. I've not upgraded since 2015, and I'm probably
Oh,
not going to
you're rocking
before
the
that.
8,
Yeah,
rocking the 9, baby.
yeah. I mean, honestly, like there's no need for me to upgrade. It does everything fine. Like, I mean, I'm I'm happy with the performance of it, and I don't need to continually upgrade and get the newest thing.
Yeah, I honestly used to do that just because, um, just because I want the newest phone for like the newest. Because the only thing that really changes with the phones is you might get a little bit more that a little bit more storage and the camera. Everything else, unless you're really a tech person, the phone's going to operate the same as you want it. And half the time, the changes in the camera is not really that noticeable unless you're really taking pictures with the camera. So I
Yeah.
was like, you know what? I'll wait. I started going every other model, but now I'm like on like the third or fourth one before upgrading. Although I am running out of storage on my phone.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm running out of storage. My battery dies sooner than it used to, but that's okay. Like, I mean, I don't have to pay $250 a month. And if I do get a new phone, I'll probably just pay it off immediately.
Yeah, so like I'll probably get the one generation below the new one when I do get it. So like when the 22 or whatever the next model is gonna be called, I'll get the 21.
That makes sense. But yeah, I mean, 2022 is going to be a great year in my opinion. I could be wrong, and it could be like the worst year in humanity, but I think it'll be a good year.
Yeah. So here's to the end of 2021 and looking to a better, brighter future in 2022. And let's all make money.
This has been Life, Love, and the Pursuit of Phi with your host Austin Culp,
Greg Gaskin.
and it's been our pleasure. And happy 2022.
Yes. Happy holidays and happy new year. We're out.